Guys, kembali lagi di Mad Bomb. Ya, kali ini gue masih bermain Echo Vampire. Ya, untuk sebelumnya gue mau minta maaf karena untuk Valheim gue tunda dulu ya. Gue udah keliling-keliling masih belum ketemu. Jadi nanti kalau misalnya udah ketemu gue bakal update. Jadi untuk sementara kita main ini dulu. Gue akan main ini dulu, yaitu Echo Vampire ini. Ya, itu aja sih. Dan sekarang kita masuk ke misi ke-6 di campaign The Normans, yaitu The First Battle of Lincoln. Berarti ini battle pertamanya ya. Berarti Berarti ini Lincoln yang paling bawah ini tuh second battle mungkin, atau third battle atau berapa gue nggak tahu. Yang pasti ini first battle-nya di sini, yaitu First Battle of Lincoln 1141. Nah ini ternyata bukan mode cuy. Gue nggak tahu ini apaan, soalnya gue ngecek di yang lainnya, ini campaign lainnya itu dia beda-beda juga, bukan mode ternyata. Misal kayak di The 100 Year War, ini kan dia Chivalry, Mongol Empire, Shock and Awe. Nah, yang punyanya The Rise of Moscow dia Fort the City kan. Ternyata ini bukan mode ya, nggak tahu apa nih. So di sini dia adalah The Anarchy. Ini dia The Empress Matilda made her move for the English throne. Boy, fueling the fire of the Civil War. Oke, so langsung saja kita start mission. Di sini juga ada bonus video ya, soalnya ada 2 kan videonya. So start. Oh, cutscene. Normandy, France.
After England defeated the French at the Battle of Bremule, Normandy was back in King Henry's hands. But 1 year later, his good fortune turned to tragedy.
Oh, apa nih?
In 1120, his son and heir William Adelin died in a shipwreck.
Oh, anaknya mati
The
tenggelam.
future of Henry I's kingdom was in jeopardy.
Waduh. The Anarchy.
Henry desperately needed a new heir. With no legitimate sons left alive, he broke with tradition and chose his daughter, Matilda.
Oh, putrinya.
Henry forced his barons to swear an oath to accept Matilda as queen. But when the king died, they broke their promise.
Okay.
England would not be ruled by a woman.
Matilda's
cousin Stephen saw his chance and claimed the throne.
Oh. Okay.
The crisis moved to the capital. At Westminster Abbey, Stephen was crowned king, but Matilda wanted what was hers.
Okay, ini dia.
She was also lining up powerful supporters who would fight Stephen for her right to rule.
Oh, dia dapat.
Their conflict engulfed England in civil war.
Civil War, perang saudara.
Fighting raged throughout the land.
Okay.
In 1141, everything focused on one of the kingdom's most strategic cities.
Oh, strategic.
Lincoln
City, Lincoln Castle.
Matilda's allies had commandeered the castle. But King Stephen was determined to take it back. He besieged the castle. Stalemate. As dawn broke on February the 2nd, everything was about to change.
West Common Lincoln.
Matilda's half-brother, Robert of Gloucester, raced to break the siege. As Robert's forces approached Lincoln, Stephen's army turned away from the castle to face them. Robert could win Matilda the crown, but only if his army could win the day.
Battle of Lincoln 1141. Oke, loading ya guys. Nah ini First Battle of Lincoln. The castle at Lincoln was under siege. Inside, force loyal to the Empress Matilda await relief from her half-brother Robert of Gloucester. To break the siege, Robert would have to capture Oh, kita berarti nangkap rajanya, berarti si siapa? Sepupunya Matilda. Yang dia ngambil tahta Inggris, kerajaan Inggris setelah si siapa namanya? King Henry mati. Press F. Kok kayak nggak asik ya? Gimana ya? William the Conqueror meninggal, digantiin anaknya baru menjabat sebentar, terus juga mati karena sebuah insiden. Terus ini giliran King Henry, adiknya dari si William kedua kan. King Henry punya anak juga sama kan, setelah sih, kalau ini King Henry masih hidup sih. Anaknya itu malah mengalami nasib naas, kapal karam. Sama ya, hampir sama loh. Oke, langsung kita mulai saja. Lincolnshire.
Robert of Gloucester's forces approached Lincoln. Their task, to liberate the castle from King Stephen's siege.
Oh, kita menyelamatkan.
While behind Lincoln's walls, troops loyal to Matilda held the castle for the Empress.
Oh, kita berarti nyerang dari belakang.
First, Robert's forces would stage an ambush to prevent enemy reinforcements from joining with King Stephen's army.
Oh, ambush site-nya banyak coy. Ini berapa orang sih? 18 ya, bagi 2 aja ya. Unit pertama, unit ketiga gue pindahin ke sini. Banyak MG site-nya itu. Unit keempat. Udah? Oh, nggak boleh. Udah semuanya. Atau harus di sini? Oh, enggak, salah. Oh, semuanya harus di situ, nggak boleh di luar sini. Iya, nggak boleh. Iya, harus ngumpul di sini semua. Sini lu. Kalian berdua unit ini. Aduh, ini juga harus nge-stay di sini. Ya ampun. Gue kira bisa di-embis di tempat lain juga. Yaudah, kita gabungin aja dulu, ngikut story-nya dulu. Oke.
Robert's men concealed themselves in a sheltered grove and lay in wait for the enemy.
Ini gue pindahin ke sini aja kalau gitu. Gue butuh view, nggak tahu nih datangnya. Oh, datangnya dari atas. Sabar. Buake kok. Nah, gini kan enak filmnya.
Robert defeated the first column of Stephen's reinforcements, but he knew more were on the way.
Oke, next dari bawah situ ya. Ayo, cepetan masuk, cepetan masuk, belum ketahuan.
What beathin hesten, send a meta mina wekes. Ich obey thine hes. Ich do a sua thu het, send a meta mina wekes. Ich for thethi. What beathin ich so hes. Every champion!
Ya, kita berhasil menunjukkan. Lu mau kemana? Lu stay di sini. Pindah ke sini.
With more of Stephen's reinforcements eliminated, Robert was steadily undermining the siege.
Kalau tebakan gue bener berarti nanti dia lewat sini. Yap, dia lewat situ.
Here we for blood. What will thou? Essa shouldn't be here. What will thou? It's so hessa aliat. What be a finest? It's to us. Send them at mina wekes.
Stand on the ground. Stand on the ground. Lu juga stand on the ground. Stand ground. Stand on the ground. Ya sih. Ya bener sih, stand on the ground.
Here we for blood on ball. Here we it's to us so thuhetest. It's so hessa aliat.
Vendas isena nirbi.
Surprise! Surprise! Hai! Iya, matilah kalian semua. Unit gue belum ada yang mati sih.
Robert's men decimated King Stephen's reinforcements and were poised to break the siege.
Oke, kita dapat reinforce.
Continuing the push towards Lincoln, Robert sent in a large company of reinforcements to aid his vanguard. To further weaken the siege, Robert would need to cut off Stephen's supplies. He targeted the nearby market town.
Oke, kalau gitu ini gue bagi jadi dua. Wah, 64 ya. 64 bagi 2 atau bagi 3 ya? Ini banyak banget ini. Itu mainnya sneaky coy. So, gue juga penasaran ini sini apa sih?
Scouters, readeth alsamen, scouters.
What will thou? Ich obey thine hes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oke, udah kan?
Men av armes har kräftet förståra.
64 itu 16.
Men av armes har bidet. Men av armes,
Ini
wepen
pertama.
förände ute. Björnes, jag rättar don.
Ini kedua.
Ich fortsätter hes. Men av armes har kräftet förståra.
Ini ketiga.
Trevelte don, men av armes.
Nah, ini unit ke 4.
jara.
Kita gabungin ini jadi unit ke tim 0 aja.
Verreth du ende, men av armes.
Hästes mig och slipperlig. On the stirrus. En tent nuthan. Komathon.
Scout dende så het.
Buset banget.
Way, here reader, Scoutess. Scoutess,
Itu banyak banget itu.
Ich habe
Fuset
found
i
the bow.
kane du.
Susah ya. Kalau gua mau nyerang mereka, gua
Jones jare tot
main formasi aja.
We've been gangande. Every chan jara. Travail to don, men of armes. Jones jare to don. It's du så du hetest. Men av verreth du ende.
Dresset al Suiza, yes. Suas he het.
Kurse i saddle. Scouter i ready.
No! On the highway!
Winners to Scouter. Read it, Usa. Insail the bow. Scouter i ready to read. We're reading.
Oh, belum ada serangan, gua kira udah diserang, cuma dikepung doang.
Rallying to Matilda's cause, a large group of knights arrived at Lincoln to bolster Robert's army. With the market town in ruins, King Stephen's supplies began to dwindle.
Saya petar nge-lag. Oh, saving game. Belum terbiasa guys, ini tiba-tiba saving game
Robert
lagi.
received word that Welsh troops under
Okay.
Matilda's banner were en route to join forces with him. But King Stephen had the roads to Lincoln heavily guarded, and the route was not without risk, even for the hardy Welshmen.
Every chan
Gua
jara.
60 ya, 60 bagi 2 aja deh. 2, 3, 4.
Men av armes, we've been verende ute.
Kurse i saddle.
Enggak, ini
Scouter i
diambil
ready.
aja.
Jones jare every chan jara. It's so hessa aljatte. Men av armes abide. It's forstet in hess.
Making their way to Lincoln, Matilda's Welsh allies were ambushed by the king's soldiers. Robert's men would need to aid the Welsh if they wanted their help in breaking the siege.
Every chan jara.
We're reading.
Send the men to the way. It's forstet in hess.
No, bantuan gua. Oh, gua datang. Mereka ada reinforce lagi. Gerak.
Scouter. Way, here reader, Scoutess.
Ya bisa nih. Unit dong mati 1, 2. Cuma 2 unit dong gua yang mati.
Joining forces on the road to Lincoln, Matilda's allied troops made for the castle to lift the siege.
Kita cuma kehilangan 2 unit. Aku memperhitungkan banget ini unit. Hilang 1 tuh dampaknya lumayan soalnya.
Scouters, ich will do that. Het wel de beeldon. Readeth al samen, Scoutess. Scoutess, readeth uta. Readeth alsamen, Scoutess.
Men of arms, fereth to men of arms, hervegan.
Knitas, keepeth good fettle, Knitas.
Scoutess, read in this ahead.
Kayaknya sih nggak ada apa-apa sih sebelah sini.
Volwende the Hester.
Jonas, hesse shullen be her.
Kier steppeth to
Men of arms,
Knitas, stand certas.
Widus ichel do that. Read in this ahead. Wait, hell
Robert's forces spotted a large detachment of Stephen's soldiers guarding the castle gates. If they hoped to liberate Lincoln, they would need to break the blockade and rout the army.
Ichel do that. Widus do ende me today. Kosa, ik het wel beeld of scout en ende so.
Infanteri sini yang bisa nyerbu.
Jerwe for blood on bag. Ik sua hessa aliata.
Ayo, lah mereka ngomong gerak dong. Oh, mereka berhenti ngikutin unit gua ternyata.
Hessas what beath in hesten. Ich obey thine hess. We have a fear against.
Unit berkuda gua maju mentar soalnya mereka punya kehilangan berapa unit, mobil banyak banget loh. Dari 30 jadi 13, ini kehilangan 2.
Robert's forces scattered the king's army, leaving the gates to the castle unguarded.
Men of arms,
Hestes and on, men. Steppeth to it, men.
Jonas revealed to dawn, men of arms.
All keepeth good fettle, Knitas.
Widus shullen we got.
Ayo masuk ini.
Het wel beeld on.
Robert's men finally united with Lincoln's garrison. They could now use the castle to strengthen their army.
Men of arms, revealed to dawn, men of
To lift
arms.
the siege, they needed to destroy the enemy camps surrounding the castle.
Saving. Oh, kita dapat kontrol seluruh wilayahnya.
Toon folk already ready. You can build that for they.
Gue butuh lo nambah bangunan ini sih.
Every Chanyara, fereth to orende, men of arms. Men of arms, hervegan, weben gangande.
Nah, ini ada ability. Masukin sini dulu.
Men of arms, abideth.
Scoutess, is ready to read.
Every men of arms, weben ferende ut. Jonas, jare to dawn.
Give for me Hestes. Elder Ned, stirende nu.
Yo, barbar.
Ende so ahead.
Jadiin korban dong.
Widus shullen we got. Where read?
4.
Dresseth Yow Arwe.
Widus shulichka. Bend.
Knitas, stand. Ut readeth, thou apple tulkes.
et ferende.
Hestes cometh, men. Heriende Hestes nu.
Toon folk already ready.
Ini mereka emang sengaja maju kah atau gimana sih? Kok bakal butuh banyak kayu ya? Kita kirim aja. Ini mau tambahin satu lagi.
Then did that, read the note.
Oh, ada ya bangunan miring-miring begini atau emang cuma settingan doang ya, settingan di game di campaign doang ya. Pertama kita bangun mangonel, ini penting ini.
What needeth be on? Get it this week, town folk.
Setelah itu nih kita kirim ke situ, kita bikin extra villager. Ini nggak perlu di upgrade. Oh, gue dapet council hall. Udah belum?
Men of armies,
Kayaknya udah
here we
nih.
go. Within
Yang ini di unit gue yang ini udah maju.
Travail to dawn.
Klomhead, Hester's Freckes Haken.
Shaffer stopper.
Wait, I'm getting.
Not slew. Gap.
Spederman Yara. That will be out to attendeth Tulkes.
Oh, mereka langsung ngambil.
Jeve mea puta. Here, Hester. Asterias. Yarwe Shetum. Habemi Bo. Berende.
Langsung ngambil pos di ininya.
Not slipping. It's so hessa aliata.
Gue butuh informasi nih.
Kus giffe me Hester. Scoutus volwendet die Hester.
Gua mau nembus yang wilayah yang eastern dulu deh. Gue pindah ke sini.
And Shanka forth over. Tema away to Faren.
Emang ada tembok? Oh, dia naik dari sini ke sini turun di situ. Oke. Mangonel.
Safe to Hestes.
Ini kita kirim buat kerja di sini. Oke, 4 aja. Ini
Hestes
nomor
not more.
2.
Bail sleepily on the stairs. Up then better, our way, men. Bail sleepily on the stairs.
Nah,
Step
kesini,
to it, our way, men.
Ini nomor 3 nanti buat ngecharge. Hah? Oh, kayak gini ya serangannya. Yo, enggak, jangan kepancing dulu, jangan kepancing.
Hey, every time. Intended. You can have that he building it on. You can have your friend so ahead. What needeth be undone?
What needeth be undone? If he'll build that for thee.
And seal.
Harusnya cukup sih itu. Oke, udah kebuka. Ini ada kebuka ya.
Clam, taketh up within armors. It's to us Mangadel Yara. To when they hit. Engine on the way. Mangadel, for when they we some job. It's forth that in his. It's to us so to headest. It's so a hessa ariata. Mangadel,
Kita pakai mangonel. Unit 3 nyerang ke sini, nyerang ke sini.
you ready for Hestes?
Matilda's forces struck hard, destroying one of King Stephen's siege camps.
Unit 3, unit 2, sorry. Unit 2 maju. Cukup lah ini. Nggak nambah pasukan sama sekali ini. Oh, buat melawan yang di sini. 6, 12, 18, 24. Kayak central campnya udah.
King Stephen's army dwindled as Matilda's forces struck down another siege camp.
Dua,
Tulkas,
satu.
tema away to fare.
Knitas,
Lu siap-siap ngecharge. Ini buatnya ekstra aja kalau misal gagal nembus. Yang nggak gagal sih ini harus.
None slipping. We have it there. Fire!
Hästen suet till här.
Hold the
Caesar.
That's sweet. Get
Knitas!
The king's army was scattered, and those who didn't fall fled.
Oke, udah. Oh,
King
belum.
Stephen was spotted,
belum.
shielded by his men. To end the siege, Matilda's forces needed to capture Stephen and rout his army.
Belum. Bersiap.
Asteria.
Oh, mereka belok.
Hästes är on board.
Hans hästar skulle bli här.
Man säger hästen suet till här. Fusse Tulkas.
Every can of armies.
Minit 6. Mati. Ketangkep ya, ditangkepnya capture ya.
Matilda's men closed in and finally captured King Stephen.
Knitas standing there!
Yo, mau lari kemana lu? Ayo lu.
Identical some honor!
Matilda's forces had won the battle at
Apa itu
Lincoln,
dapat achievement Siege
but the
Breaker.
fight for the crown was not over yet.
Oke, not over yet. Ya sih, soalnya Battle Lincoln ini masih ada lagi kan. Jadi untuk first Battle of Lincoln, jadi pertempuran pertama Lincoln sampai di sini, yang mana kita berhasil membebaskan kastil Lincoln ya. Selamat sih ngomongnya. Dari pengepungan King Stephen, Raja Stephen ya. Yang mana Raja Stephen ini adalah sepupunya dari Queen atau Empress ya, The Empress Matilda, sepupunya dia. Karena di sini Matilda kan juga pengen ngerebut haknya dia yang harusnya jadi milik dia. Dan ini setelah menangkap itu bukan berarti kita berhasil menyelesaikan masalah civil war, perang saudaranya itu belum berakhir. Ini masih ada lanjutannya, dia bakal masih berlanjut. Dan kemungkinan nanti berlanjut di sini, The Siege of Wallingford. Oke. So, itu aja sih. Oh ya, ini The Empress Flight. Kita baca dulu ya. The Empress Flight. In the deep winter of 1142, the Empress Matilda, passing captured by her rival King Stephen, was forced to make a daring flight from the tower of Oxford's castle. Under cover of night, she descends the tower wall by rope, finding the gap in Sitchford. Unseen with Matilda wearing white for cover against the snow, crossing the frozen river Thames miles through heavy snow before finding refuge at her stronghold of Wallingford. Shortly after her escape, she slipped away to her court at Rowan, where she was free to plan the next phase of her challenge for English throne. Oh, dia kabur. Kabur? Hah? Oh, gua agak bingung sih sebenarnya. Ya pokoknya itulah. Kalian mungkin bisa pahami sendiri ya. Kalau mau dibaca sendiri bisa kalian pause. Gimana terserah. Baca sendiri. So next kita masuk ke bonus video, yaitu the tribute. Ngomongnya gitu kan, tribute.
A counterweight trebuchet was the king of all siege engines. A catapult capable of smashing down castle walls from great distances.
The tribute.
At Warwick Castle in England, they've built a replica, one of the largest in the world.
One of the largest in the world.
Originating in 7th century China, by the 13th century, trebuchets had evolved into devastatingly powerful weapons.
Such a simple design, but so effective.
Simple design.
It has several key features. A pivoted arm with a weight at one end, and a sling to hold the projectile at the other. To prime, the 6-ton weight is raised using tread wheels.
Oh, itu.
So this is one of the wheels, one of two that's attached to an axle, which would lift the counterweight, weighing 6 tons. It's based on muscle power alone. What's essential about launching a projectile as far as possible is making sure that this end of the arm is moving as fast as possible. So once that weight drops, it really sends this point of the arm moving at its highest velocity.
This was done by positioning the pivot close to the counterweight and by launching the projectile from a sling. When released, the sling whips round, vastly increasing the launch speed.
Okay. Oh, ini dia.
Trebuchets were carefully aimed, like modern guns.
In order to weaken the castle walls or even breach them, you had to make sure that the projectiles hit the same spot every single time.
For each projectile to follow the same trajectory, they all had to be the same weight and shape. To achieve this, masons used a gauge.
Now I'm going to load this projectile into the sling. Oh, this one must weigh about 25 kilograms, but some projectiles can get up to 150 kilograms. That's the weight of 2 men.
Okay.
Trebuchets were also used to throw burning tar, beehives, even dead bodies. Anything to cause maximum distress to the enemy.
Oh.
Did you hear that whoosh?
Suaranya itu yang satisfying sih.
It was the counterweight trebuchet's lethal combination of power and accuracy that made it the ultimate medieval siege weapon.
Suara ininya emang satisfying sih pas yang lontarin itu. Nggak gitu sih, kayak suaranya tuh enak didengar gitu loh. Oke, yap. Jadi sampai di sini dulu ya. Kita udah nyelesain misinya, misi ke berapa tuh? Ke-6. Sama kita udah nonton video bonusnya. So buat kalian yang suka, kalian bisa like, comment, dan share juga. Jangan lupa di-share. Iya. Dan kalian juga yang belum subscribe dulu. Tombol subscribe-nya udah tersedia di bawah. Dan yang udah subscribe tapi belum pencet loncengnya, pencet dulu loncengnya. Biar tiap kali ada video terbaru gua langsung masuk. Notifikasinya muncul. Yeah. Dan kalian juga bisa support gua, bisa kasih dukungan, bisa kasih donasi dari link yang udah gua sediain di deskripsi. Ya, dan itu aja sih. So, terima kasih sudah menonton video gua kali ini. Sampai jumpa di next video. Dadah.